Today, a happy hour hustle special report. Our crack team is reporting and commentating on breaking news from last week, the Cambridge Analytica Scandal. What happened? Who's to blame? Let's find out.
Welcome, everyone, to a special edition of Happy Hour Hustle. When we created this podcast, it was to talk about a lot of the great things that are happening in our community, within our industry, but also to discuss things that are happening on a larger stage that also impact you as a company, impact consumers across the board, and impact how we do our job. And one of those big topics right now that, I mean, unless you are literally living in a cave, you have seen this, or you've heard about it, and it's on NPR and CNN and, I mean, everywhere else, is Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. Cambridge Analytica is a British political firm, consulting firm that worked on the Trump election, specifically gathering data on voters. They use Facebook to do this, and so we're going to talk a little bit about how that data was gathered, the blowback that Facebook is currently experiencing, and then what that impact is on not only Facebook, but on our industry as a whole. I've got Kayden Grinwis, who's our digital director with us, and also Alex Renz, who is our digital associate. And I purposefully have both of them on because this is the world that they live in, and I think if anybody's going to be able to break it down so it's more understandable for all of us, it would be them. Because I for one am still trying to wrap my head around it. So I kind of want, Kayden, I want to start with you. I want you to kind of give an overview of why this is making headlines, why people are scared, angry, and then the role that Facebook plays in this.
Certainly. So how this happened, so Cambridge Analytica, like Kim said, so they're a British political consulting firm. They leverage data mining to drive political strategies. So what happened was there was a third-party app that they worked with that was a personality quiz.
And who hasn't taken a personality quiz on Facebook? We all have done it.
Guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those personality quizzes on Facebook, when users took it, it collected the data, and then it also combed your friends' profiles for their data. So as you can imagine, a lot of data gathered very quickly. So while this data was cleared for use for academic reasons, there was a researcher in Cambridge who was using this for academic purposes. Cambridge Analytica then used the data for commercial purposes to influence, allegedly, the Trump campaign. So the data was misused, and that's why people are upset.
So let's talk a little bit about Facebook's role in this because obviously this personality quiz was distributed throughout Facebook. People are saying Facebook should have not allowed this data to be gleaned. Facebook should have done this. Facebook should have done that. Let's talk a little bit about it from your perspective. And first of all, did Facebook do something wrong? Second of all, what is not their role, but people are saying they need to be held accountable. So I want you to talk a little bit to that. And then I want to jump over to Alex a little bit so we can talk about data mining as a whole. And what did you call it?
Micro-targeting.
Micro-targeting. Because, I mean, that is something that we use to do our job. Yeah. So I do want people to better understand what that is. But first, let's go into what Facebook's role is in this.
So Facebook's role. Facebook has an enormous security team. After this, they're actually bumping up to about 20,000 people. So they actively work to prevent something like this from happening. The reality, though, is it's going to happen. So what did Facebook do wrong? The allegations are stating that they did not come forward as soon as they knew. Which is crisis 101. Which is the biggest issue, is that they could have gotten ahead of it and just been a little bit more transparent with their audience.
So right now, the FCC is launching an investigation. There's a potential for a class action lawsuit. The stock for Facebook is currently down. This is obviously bad for apps that are engaging or utilizing Facebook. It's limiting traffic and data. It's impacting advertisers, which means that the advertising revenue is down. Cost to resolve and doubles the size of the security force is going to be millions of dollars, which could also mean an increase in ad prices. And historically, Facebook has been actually very cost effective for a lot of businesses to utilize to get, whether it's for brand awareness or targeting. So talk to me a little bit about, for one, do you feel like it's not for us to say if it's fair or not, but obviously what Cambridge Analytica did was shady. That's the best way to say it. It was shady.
Yep.
But let's talk a little bit about the blowback that's happening with Facebook. You've already admitted that they did not handle it well. Now, all of this is happening. Do you think this will have a long-term effect on them?
I do to some extent. So people are mad. You've probably noticed the delete Facebook hashtag that's trending. People are trying to delete their Facebook accounts without much success. I think people are really underestimating kind of how embedded Facebook is into their everyday lives. If you think about it, every time you install most apps on your phone, try to log in, Uber, Spotify, Instagram, Pinterest, Hulu, Venmo, Tinder, thousands of other apps allow you to use your Facebook login. So for those people who are deleting Facebook and getting rid of their accounts, they now have to go into every single one of those accounts that they have and create a new profile. Or log in and update their information before they delete their Facebook account. So it's really not that simple. And I think, hats off to Mark Zuckerberg and what he's built for building this so deeply into society.
Integrating this, absolutely.
I think it's fascinating. And then once you do delete it, those third-party apps still have that data.
Yeah.
And they are not required to delete it just because you delete your Facebook account. Even again after you delete it, Facebook still has tools to track you around the internet. So I think, from a bigger picture, is Facebook hurting a little bit right now? Absolutely. But I think that they'll survive.
Okay, so I want to go to you, Alex. I want to talk a little bit about micro-targeting. I want you to give kind of an overview of what micro-targeting is, because I don't think that people realize that, hey, it's already in use. This isn't really that this isn't a new concept. So let's talk a little bit about micro-targeting, because what they're saying is Cambridge Analytica manipulated that tool. But I want you to first, talk about micro-targeting. What is that?
So when we use micro-targeting, we set the parameters on who we want to target. We'll say, I want to target a certain gender, a certain age, people who are interested in a certain thing. And then Facebook tells me, okay, X amount of people are within your audience. However, I can't tie that audience to anyone in specific. So even though it says that there are 500 people in Grand Rapids that follow into this audience, I don't know who they are. I don't know who's seeing the ad. And that's a big difference, whereas Cambridge Analytica, they were able to go in and take all the data from individuals and then tie that data to the individuals. And that's a big breach of privacy.
So I want to go to the data because I was listening to NPR the other day, and they spoke with the gentleman who actually created this quiz, this app. He's saying, and this could be just to cover his own ass, he's saying that the data collected wasn't even that great in terms of it wasn't going to be as accurate. It wasn't accurate, and so there was definitely some holes in the I guess the intelligence they gathered, but also in terms of just in general, how accurately that data could have been used for the purposes that they wanted to use it for, which was ultimately to influence the election.
Well, I don't know if I can speak entirely to this. Kayden might have more information, but to his credit, to do devil's advocate here, this was in 2014. There was different terms of service that Facebook had then, where you were allowed to do this with certain clearance. They did, however, they were told to delete this by Facebook, and they didn't. So that's a different breach of privacy, a different issue that we will have to cover. But there are multiple apps that may have done this back in 2014. Facebook is even investigating apps like Farmville and all the games you played to make sure that they didn't.
I knew Farmville was nefarious. I knew it. We all knew it was. Okay, going back to that, Alex, So what you're saying, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, that Cambridge Analytica was caught, but there very well could be other apps that did this long before Cambridge Analytica that we just don't even know about.
Right, yeah, and they were caught in a big lie doing a big operation. I'm not saying Farmville did this. I'm just saying they may have had the capabilities,
Yes.
and there are many other apps that did have the capabilities and probably did do this. However, since Facebook updated the terms of service, they were supposed to delete it, and Facebook has said that they are going to try to make a more robust way of making sure that all that information got properly deleted and disposed of.
So bringing this back, big picture, what do small businesses and marketers need to know? That's obviously, we serve small businesses, medium-sized businesses. What do businesses need to know about this? How does this affect them?
It affects them in a few ways. The first one is that Facebook's not going away anytime soon.
No.
So, keep leveraging Facebook advertising. It's a great tool. It's a cost-effective tool. And there's no need to be paranoid and shut down Facebook accounts. So keep leveraging that. It's a great tool out there. Again, from a small business perspective, this is an example of why security is very important. Data security, cybersecurity. It's something that is important to be proactive with, as Facebook found out the hard way. So I think for small businesses, that's an incredibly important takeaway there. And then just to everybody, be smart about what you're putting online. People wouldn't have had Cambridge Analytica wouldn't have had the data if you hadn't put it there. So if you were very concerned about what is being found online about you, don't put it out there in the first place.
Any last words from you, Alex, in terms of what marketers could really learn from this?
Well, I'd say if someone comes to you and offers you data like this, like Cambridge Analytica did, don't use it. Might
Brilliant.
seem obvious, but you might get caught in this lie. And Facebook already has a robust targeting system. You don't need to know the names behind who you're targeting. You're going to get results. So just stick to how it's supposed to be used. You're going to get results. And there's going to be a lot less controversy. So just keep doing that.
Keep in mind, too, that, this is the world we live in now. These are new problems that we're going to have to face with technology. It's a price we're going to pay as a society to achieve a more connected, educated, and efficient world.
Facebook is... I believe that Facebook's intentions are great. They're trying to connect people around the world with internet access, with education. I think this is just kind of a hurdle on that path, and it's going to continue to be there until we solve it. We just haven't had to solve it yet.
Well, and, to all marketers and businesses out there, this is one of the reasons why it is important to talk to, agencies or talk to those within the digital world that are helping you manage your online presence. These are questions that they should be able to answer for you. It's one of the biggest reasons we're doing this podcast, because we do think this is important information to be out there. We all know that, this can get very much blown up in the news. So let's figure out how it affects you on a local level. What are the things you need to do to protect your businesses? And also, how's that going to impact your marketing for the future? Thanks again, Alex and Kayden. Our job is to remain educated or to stay educated on these issues and to hopefully bring you a non-bias approach or discussion about it.
Even though we love Facebook.
Yes, but okay, some of us. Well, hey. So anyway, don't stop taking those quiz, but do delete Farmville. That's really that's what this all comes down to. I'm just kidding. No, really fine. Aunt Barb, it's fine. Stay on Farmville. It's okay. All right, everyone. So this is a special edition of Happy Hour Hustle. We really want to hear from you on this. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. On this as a whole, and this micro targeting and how this data was manipulated and what your thoughts are on Facebook's role in this. So thanks again for listening.
Cheers.